Prepare to hear the story of an individual who braved speed and outpaced the monarch's horses in ancient times. An astonishing incident left everyone perplexed. When an ordinary human being performed an extraordinary feat, how did he manage to surpass the strength and speed of the finest royal horses? In this video, we will unravel this enigma and explore the hidden vigor behind this incredible achievement. Stay tuned. The story you are about to hear is one of the most astonishing and captivating in the Bible. At a time of great religious and political tension in Israel, a powerful figure emerged who challenged the sovereigns and false gods of the time. This man, driven by divine power, accomplished feats that still amaze us today. In the book of 1 Kings chapter 18, we find one of the most exceptional moments of his existence. After a dramatic confrontation with the prophets of Baal, he demonstrated not only his spiritual power, but also his impressive physical strength. This event changed history and shaped the faith of this man, driven by divine power, accomplished feats that still amaze us today. In the book of 1 Kings chapter 18, we find one of the most exceptional moments of his existence. After a dramatic confrontation with the prophets of Baal, he demonstrated not only his spiritual power, but also his impressive physical strength. This event changed history and shaped the faith of a people. Let's now discover how he achieved what seemed impossible to human eyes. To understand this man's extraordinary act, we need to understand the historical context in which he lived during that period in Israel. It was ruled by King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. They promoted the worship of the pagan god Baal, causing immense disagreement among the people. Baal was considered the god of fertility and inclement weather, and his cults often involved rites contrary to God's laws. Spiritual and ethical depravity was widespread, and the true God of Israel seemed to have been forgotten. In this chaotic and challenging scenario, a powerful prophet, summoned by God, emerged to restore faith and obedience among the Israelites. His task was clear: to confront the false god and prove that the Lord was the only legitimate God. This context of religious and political conflict sets the stage for the astonishing event we are about to investigate. Elijah, the prophet called by God, directly challenged the prophets of Baal to a magnificent duel on Mount Carmel. He proposed a decisive test to show who the true God was. Both Elijah and the 450 prophets of Baal were to prepare a sacrifice on an altar, but without setting fire to it. The true God would be the one who responded with flames from heaven to consume the sacrifice from morning until noon. The prophets of Baal shouted, danced, and wounded themselves, waiting for a response, but nothing occurred, not a sound. No fire, only silence. So Elijah began to mock them, suggesting that perhaps their God was sleeping or busy with another activity in the afternoon. Elijah gathered the people and rebuilt the altar of the Lord using 12 stones to symbolize the 12 tribes of Israel. He dug a pit around the altar. He placed the wood, prepared the sacrifice, and decreed that 4 pots of water be poured over the sacrifice and the wood. He repeated this order 3 times until water flooded everything and filled the pit around the altar. Then Elijah prayed, "O Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and that I have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me, so that these people may know that you are the Lord our God, and that you have turned their hearts back to you." Immediately, the fire of the Lord came down from heaven and consumed the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, the earth, and even the water in the pit. Seeing this, the people knelt and cried out, "The Lord is God." This duel not only proved the power of the true God, but also exposed the falsehood of idols, restoring the faith of the people of Israel after the stunning confrontation on Mount Carmel. Elijah knew his mission was not yet over. He had significant news for King Ahab. The drought that had afflicted Israel for 3 years was about to end. Elijah said to Ahab, "Go, eat and drink, for I have heard the sound of a heavy rain." While Ahab ascended the mountain to celebrate, Elijah prepared for a vital moment. He climbed to the top of Mount Carmel and fell face down. He knelt down and began to pray fervently. He knew the rain promised by God was about to fall, but there was still no sign of it. Elijah sent his servant 7 times to look toward the sea. The first 6 times the servant returned without news, but on the 7th attempt he saw a small snowball the size of a man's hand rising from the ocean. Elijah recognized this as an indication that the water was on its way. He then sent his assistant to tell Ahab to prepare his chariot and go down before the downpour stopped him. The atmosphere was filled with expectation, and the tension in the air was palpable. Elijah, motivated by divine power, girded his loins and prepared for what was to come with unwavering resolution and complete faith. He was ready to perform an extraordinary feat, something that defied human logic and demonstrated once again the power of God. While Ahab prepared to leave in his chariot pulled by the best horses, Elijah ran, driven by celestial vigor. With the confirmation of the small cloud on the horizon, Elijah was certain of the great downpour. He was about to arrive. He had warned Ahab to prepare his chariot and descend quickly before the storm stopped him. Meanwhile, Elijah prepared for a key moment, positioning himself to run. Elijah was not only a powerful prophet in spirit, but he was also about to demonstrate extraordinary physical strength. What happened next was nothing short of a miracle. Every step Elijah took was motivated by firm belief and a higher purpose. He was not only running with his own energy, but with the divine strength that empowered him. Imagine the scene. A seemingly ordinary man surpassing the king's fastest horses, not thanks to his physical training, but due to the solidity of his faith and a heavenly mission. Elijah not only ran, he flew over the terrain, proving that with God all things are possible. This display of power was not only to show Elijah's physical ability, but to ratify the vigor of the God of Israel, who can strengthen his servants in unbelievable ways. Elijah's run was not just the contest was a living testament to the power of God working through his loyal servants. Elijah's journey to Jezreel was not easy. The distance of about 24 kilometers was filled with uneven terrain, steep slopes, and difficult trails. Furthermore, the imminent arrival of the storm made the ground slippery and visibility low. Running under such conditions would be a challenge for any normal individual, but Elijah had a divine mission. As he proceeded, the wind increased and raindrops began to fall, turning the path into a muddy track. However, each obstacle along the route seemed only to reinforce his determination. Elijah did not slow down. Instead, he continued with incredible vigor and swiftness. The unfavorable circumstances only further highlighted the miracle that was happening. While the rain formed rapidly, Elijah continued his run, moved by the celestial force that guided him. The landscape around him constantly changed, but his speed and focus remained constant. What would be unattainable for any other human being, Elijah was achieving with surprising accuracy and safety. He not only overcame the obstacles of the terrain, but it also proved that with divine help it is possible to overcome any obstacle. King Ahab, in his chariot pulled by the finest horses, was astonished to see Elijah running ahead of him. The royal vehicle, designed for speed and efficiency, should have easily overtaken any runner on foot. However, Elijah, propelled by divine strength, not only kept pace with the chariot but surpassed it. For Ahab, this was more than astonishing. It was an undeniable sign of God's power working through Elijah. The observers, including the servants and the monarch's entourage, were amazed by what they witnessed. It was an unbelievable spectacle. A seemingly ordinary man surpassing the best horses in the kingdom in every expression of grace. Admiration and astonishment were evident. This extraordinary feat not only demonstrated Elijah's incredible physical ability, but also reinforced his authority as a prophet of God. Elijah's run served as a powerful testimony to all who witnessed it, making it clear that the God of Israel was with him and granted him supernatural strength. This event profoundly impacted all those present, leaving a lasting impression of divine power. Elijah arrived in Jezreel before Ahab, proving that the celestial force that moved him was greater than the robustness of the king's horses. Elijah's arrival was not merely a physical feat, but a potent spiritual declaration. When Elijah reached the gates of Jezreel, he had already covered a considerable distance under extreme conditions, something that would have been impossible without divine intervention. His rapid arrival not only surprised Ahab, but also affected all who witnessed the event. The city of Jezreel, which had been anxiously awaiting the monarch's return and news of the coming reign, saw for the first time the solitary figure of Elijah, bringing with him proof of God's power. This moment symbolized a victory of divine strength over Ahab. Human energies reinforced the message that God was with Elijah and that true strength and speed came from the Lord. Elijah's arrival in Jezreel marked the end of an epic journey and the beginning of a new era of faith and hope for the people of Israel. Elijah's feat not only impressed those who saw it, but also strengthened his authority as a prophet of God. The race symbolized the pressing need and importance of the message Elijah conveyed. It was living evidence that when we align ourselves with God's will, we can surpass human limits. Elijah's speed and vigor, driven by God's power, were a clear demonstration that God could perform miracles through his servants for the people of Israel. This event was a powerful reminder that God was present and active in their lives, willing to intervene and conquer the impossible. Elijah's race became a narrative of inspiration and faith, showing that trusting God can allow us to perform extraordinary feats. Even today, the story of Elijah leaving the king's horses behind continues to motivate generations, reminding us of the strength of faith and hope. God's ability to work miracles through his faithful servants is evident in the story of Elijah leaving behind the horses of King Ahab. It's much more than a remarkable physical feat. It offers profound lessons about faith, obedience, and the power of God. Elijah didn't rely on his own energy, but on the strength God provided. He was certain that to fulfill God's will, he needed to surrender completely to the Lord. This level of belief and dependence on God is something we can all aspire to in our lives. Reflecting on this narrative, we see that Elijah shows us what is feasible when we are aligned with God's purposes. His run was not just an act of speed, but a symbol of the urgency and importance of God's message. Elijah teaches us that despite obstacles and adversities, faith in God can allow us to conquer the unimaginable. Furthermore, Elijah's story is a powerful reminder that God is always present, ready to sustain us on our path. When we face challenges, we can remember that just as God gave Elijah the strength to run ahead of the horses, he can also give us the strength to overcome our own. Overcoming obstacles is key. Trusting him completely and following his guidance in our daily lives is crucial. We can apply the principles of this narrative by trusting God in all situations. If we are willing to submit to his will and trust in his power, we can witness miracles and accomplish extraordinary feats. Elijah's race serves as an eternal testament to what is possible when we have unwavering faith and obey God. May this story inspire us all to seek a deeper relationship with God and trust him to guide and empower us in all spheres of our lives. May we face our own challenges with the same faith and resolve as Elijah, knowing that with God all things are possible. Please leave your thoughts on the video's topic in the comments, always respecting others' opinions. I hope you enjoyed the video. If this content was useful to you, I ask for your support by subscribing so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Share this video with relatives and friends. Leave a like, and express your opinion in the comments. This helps the video reach more people. Together we can enlighten more minds and expand our knowledge. Thank you for being here, and may God bless you.